And welcome to Paranormal XL Podcast. What am I doing? So Gigi and Mama Mary are here. Look at my notes. They got printed on this stupid paper and I can't see. It's blending in. Let's see. Oh, Gigi and Mama Mary here, so don't be scared. I'm pretty sure that's what I put. So before we jump in, I wanted to do a couple of quick shout outs. Karen Murphy in California, thank you so much for the kind words and we appreciate you.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So awesome. Also a shout out to William Robinson. Thank you so much for listening and reaching out, and we're looking forward to ParasiteCon as well next month in Mansfield, Ohio.
That's going to be a blast.
Yeah. Hells yeah. I'm so excited. So, moving on to the topic of the week. I'm so excited to hear what you have to say about this. So we are talking about, I'm going to say it wrong again, Kundalini Awakening. Kundalini.
Sounds like a body part when you say it the other way.
Kundalini. To me, it sounds like pasta. What are you having for dinner? Kundalini with red sauce.
Jules, where our minds go.
Food. What we were just talking about before we hit record.
Talking about, yeah.
So to put it simply, I could be wrong. I'm just going to say what the intro web said it was. So put it simply, Kundalini Awakening is a form of energetic awakening that causes us to transform on the mental, emotional, and spiritual levels.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. Like as far as to explain it to the listeners what it is. But experiences are much more in depth, which we're going to hear.
They can be. And it's like a spiritual awakening, but like a spiritual emotional where we're pure. And it's like the primal life force energy that's within ourselves, the God source energy. And it's coiled like a snake in our root chakra. And honestly, we all go through the Kundalini Awakening, but it's like full process.
Right.
Because typically it could be dangerous if you can force it through, but it can be dangerous, especially if you have energetic blocks.
I was reading that.
Yeah, it can really mess you up. And so typically it's a natural process. And it's just you finally move into your awakening when you finally have chakras cleared.
So when you got your shit figured out.
Kind of, yeah.
I mean,
in a sense. I mean, just like when I do energy work, that's what I'm working on a lot is clearing out
right.
Path, and you're trying to grow eventually.
So, okay, to the listeners, now this isn't something you can be like, okay, I started my spiritual path 6 months ago. I'm going to give myself another 7 months and it's going to happen. I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be like, oh, that's not how it works.
Nope, it doesn't. Well, what started this topic is I had my Kundalini Awakening a couple of weeks ago, and I'll get into that story in a minute, but I've been on the spiritual journey for like 8 years now.
It's been a while.
9 years. So there's a lot of development, a lot of growth, and a lot of past life issues. And
oh, for sure.
Just that old karma.
Yeah. And then, but still learning your stuff that you need to learn and accept on your path to getting there. Like so many people want to skip over that other stuff, like the 8 years, 9 years. They want to skip over that. You can't skip over that because you're missing the whole point of allowing yourself to have the journey. If that's what you're going after, shut yourself back off and just live your regular life that you did before.
That's exactly about it. Just like doing readings too. I started off small and I wanted to be a certain spot right then and there, but it wasn't going to happen that way.
Right.
You have to embrace the journey because that's where you find yourself.
Yes.
Oh, we're done.
And that's a wrap. Thank you. Don't yuck someone else's yum.
Ever.
Just kidding. So I want to hear, okay, so I'm asking you questions and that doesn't feel right. I mean, it does. Oh my God. I'm having a So I haven't been right since I walked in the door. So some of the symptoms, like if you're a spiritual person, and I was reading online actually when I was doing research on this, so many spiritual people that have been in the spiritual world or brought up in a spiritual household had no idea what this was. And then that's what I liked reading their stories, where they're like, so this was happening and this was happening, and my spiritual guides on this realm, we'll say like you are to me, never explained any of it. And then they did more research, found somebody to reach out to, and it was like, oh, this is what's happening. So some of the things to look out for, maybe to kind of question or whatever, at least in my research, was you feel a spiritual connection with the divine that transcends the ego. You are bathed in bliss and boundless love. Oh, you experience periods of oneness where your compassion for humanity increases.
That's a lot of work.
That is, especially in today's world, that's a lot of work.
Actually.
And then you're kind of like, I would feel if you're going through that and you're like, wait, why do I have compassion for humanity when humanity is nuts?
Not all of them, but
A majority, and those are the ones that stick out, sadly. What do I say? You tap into your extra sensory abilities, ESP, or develop extraordinary gifts. So that'd be like kind of like you notice maybe being able to tap in further.
exactly.
Is that what?
Everything awakens up just a little bit more. So anything or so you do readings, all of a sudden they become
Okay.
or you're tapping into different realm. You sort of like now I noticed when I do a reading, I've always been a psychic medium, but I channel in my head.
Right.
And I write that down. Now I'm actually communicating with spirit where they're actually talking to me.
Okay.
Writing that down. So it just kind of everything amps up.
Okay.
Sometimes you feel more sensitive or more on edge or, more sensitive to the environment around you. Colors look brighter.
Yeah. That's this whole thing. When I jumped into, I didn't know it before you messaged me, and I thought maybe it auto corrected into something. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna learn something awesome. And so I was so excited with going in and like learning some of these symptoms and stuff. Other ones that pleasurable sensations pulsate through your body. You're inspired to make big life-altering decisions and changes in your life. A lot of these are actually good. Synchronicity, it says synchronicity increases tremendously. Which I don't know. When I became more aware of things, synchronicity is one thing I noticed. I want to say first of the things that I was catching on to and taking a minute to breathe, relax, take in everything, and then noticing the synchronicities. That's an easy thing to get yourself into paying attention. One of these, I can't remember if it's in this list or another one, but you're going to like it. It was funny. You have profound insights into your behavior and past experiences.
Well, because when you think about it, like when you start to awaken, or you now get why you behave a certain way or why you're trying to get a certain and then you're able to on a different path and grow.
Okay. So it's like meeting one of your levels to level up. I know that probably sounds like a silly term, but
no, that's just, it's raising your vibration.
I enjoy doing that. Yeah.
Well, because one thing to keep in mind is we're spiritual energy. So these are our vessels. So when we cross over the astral realm.
Right.
And so there we continue on. We don't just wait for purgatory and go to heaven. We continue on, but we just take on a different vessel. So that's what you would call like the causal the vessel. And so you're there and you kind of go through your life review.
Okay.
And you process all of that and you still grow as a spiritual energy because that's what we are. We're a spiritual being.
Right.
And so when you have processed all of that information, then you move into another vehicle, the emotional vehicle, and that gets you higher to your higher self. What happens is when you have your conscious self, which is your chakras, goes through your crown chakra and connects you automatically with your higher self. So then everything really makes sense. So when you reach, that's the ultimate. So it's sort of like you already went through the astral and the energy. It's sort of like you get a file folder of all the stuff you've learned and you remember all of your past lives. You hand that over to your higher self, and that's when you decide if you're going to come back and do it again. Okay. So like the Kundalini kind of represents the highest of spiritual awakening. It's the ultimate. Okay. It's the ultimate connection.
Okay. On this realm that we're having our physical bodies and stuff like that. Okay. All right. I'm reading. Another one. Your empathetic ability strengthen and you can feel everything at a profound level, which that seems like a tough one because even just being an empath, trying to figure out how to handle all that, because that's a lot for one person, especially like if you don't know what exactly is happening. And then all of a sudden you go outside or go grocery shopping and you're like, holy shit, I just felt like I ran a 10-day marathon when you get home and you were gone an hour.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's important for people to recognize those symptoms because especially if they're high anxiety, it might not be that there's something wrong with them. It could be that they're experiencing symptoms that they're really not aware of because they've never learned about it.
Right.
Exactly.
So interesting. It's just a lot to take. And that's why I'm gazing off into the distance of nothing, thinking. Another one, you begin to understand the nature of the mind and how it influences the reality. You keep receiving big cosmic downloads of information, soul communication.
Exactly.
I've heard you use that term a lot, not soul communication, but the download.
Mm-hmm. Well, you get downloads. A lot of times I'll get downloads at night. I'll wake up and it'll be like the crown of my head is pulsating. It's sort of, it would be like somebody, like a doing like a deep tissue massage or something like
right.
that, and a lot of pressure, and then just information comes in, and I'll get ideas, or I kind of get where I need to take my journey to the next level. It's a processing, and then sometimes I get downloads when I'm doing a reading. That's the same thing, channeling.
Right.
That starts to happen more, and typically when a download happens, your body kind of shakes a little bit, and it shivers like it's really cold. Would be the best way to describe it.
Huh. Very interesting. Now, in my research, there's a dark side of this too. Some of the, I do have a list of some of the experiences. Okay with me saying that?
Yeah, go for it.
So you experience intense involuntary shaking of the body that can be alarming. So it's another thing, like Mama just said, if you're feeling these things and you are on your spiritual journey, knowingly, throw that out there, do your research and learn about it so you're not scared.
And with my Kundalini, just like that, it was very intense shaking.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to hurry through this because I want to hear about that. So then your nervous system becomes hypersensitive to external stressors like bright lights, loud noises, such, shuts down all by yourself. You struggle to sleep properly. You experience sudden and shocking moments of ego death. You have visual disturbances that can feel alarming. Like you can physically feel objects, like the vibration from the objects just by touching them, and you're like, what the hell is going on? Oh my God. You experience intense heat, vibrations, or electricity surge through your body. How crazy. It feels like you're having a bad drug trip while sober. Sorry.
That's no fun.
What? You struggle to distinguish what is real from imagined, like psychosis, and feel like you're going crazy.
Yeah.
How nuts.
It can be pretty intense.
It's definitely scary if you're not aware of what's going on. One more thing, because this is in a list of this too, other awakening symptoms. So it doesn't happen for the same way for everybody. You may get a completely different list of symptoms. You may get one of these. Okay. Out-of-body experiences, where you connect with your higher self.
Yep.
The visual and hearing changes, panic attacks, and feeling of terror, strange food cravings. So may not always be pregnant. Spontaneous orgasms.
Yes.
I'm
game on.
Yes, I can't wait to have my Kundalini. And then developing strange, undiagnosable physical symptoms that may manifest as autoimmune conditions like digestive issues, just nausea and headaches, that type of thing. So absolutely crazy. I want to hear your story. Go.
Well, it started off on a Monday.
Oh, well, there you have it, peeps.
It actually did. I was had left for work, and I was not halfway to work, but I was a little bit down the road, and all of a sudden my pocket of my coat flashed in my head, and I'm like, my keys aren't in my pocket. Don't ask me how I knew that, because literally my keys are always in my pocket.
Right.
So I reached in my pocket, I'm like, they're really not in there. So I had to turn back around and go find my keys. So that put me back just a little bit. And then once I reached town, I came down the side street that I always come down, and all the lights started turning off. I'm like, okay, that's weird. And then when I got to work, something had happened with the phone, and it just kept on ringing over and over and over again, and it wouldn't stop. And which is odd, because the phones don't start ringing in until 5:30,
right?
And it was 5 o'clock. Well, 5:10 when I got there, because I was late. But so then I just got that like weird feeling, like, yeah, I feel like there's something coming. Something's gonna happen.
I'm gonna brace myself.
And it was weird enough where I actually called Kristen, and I told her the things, and she's like, I said my vibration is really high. I said, it's really weird. I feel odd. She goes, well, it could just be, you feeling the shift or the energy. And I said, well, I feel like something's going to happen. She's like, well, she was just write it down. So usually what she told me to do is, when your vibration's that high, write down something you want to manifest, because,
that's the time to do it.
Yep. You're
at a
high vibration. Right. So, after that, I really didn't think too much of it, and went home, went to bed, and sometimes I'll do this. I'll be half awake and spirit will talk to me, and we'll have conversation. So that wasn't,
and you've told me that before.
That wasn't odd for me, and that was happening. Sometimes two guys ask me, well, why do we always talk to you and you don't always hear you?
I don't know. Talk louder.
And then kind of like tossing back and forth that way. And then there's a new book that I'm reading. Okay. I remember reading in that book to connect with the universe. Take the time to go outside when it's dark and lay out underneath the sky, look at the stars, and truly connect with the embrace what's out there, because what everybody's been taught is out there whole different scenario.
Yes.
And so I'm laying there, I roll over, and all of a sudden I look up and I'm literally laying on the ground and I'm looking up at the sky. And I'm like, wait a minute, I still feel my bed.
Right.
And then I was like, am I dreaming? And I was like, no, I'm not dreaming. I'm awake. And so I was like, then that someone whispered in my head, lay back and embrace the universe. So all of a sudden I'm looking at it and all the constellations are there, and they start moving and they start dancing. And I'm like, that is so weird. But I'm getting chills just talking about it. And then, so I embrace it more, just like completely.
Right.
And all of a sudden I look past and I see like energy, like white balls of energy in the room, and like energy bubbling out of the walls. Weird. And then I saw an energy fly out of the wall, go over by your dad, shoot over the bed, and then all of a sudden, poof, it was in me. And my whole body just started burst open shaking. I was shaking so hard that I literally felt like I was levitating off the bed.
Oh my gosh.
And it just went on. And at first I was like, I wasn't scared.
Right.
And it was extremely intense vibration.
Right.
But I liked it. Probably because I've meditated so much, I'm used to raising my vibration. Never that high.
Right.
This was way too.
But you knew it was something spiritual going on.
This
so
was
you
way
weren't like,
too high.
No, yeah.
And then I said, I've already said there's spirit not allowed in my room. If this is spirit, you need to go and get out now. And I heard, no, we're the higher realms, never sees us. It just kept on and went on for a little bit longer. And then your dad rolled over and it just stopped. It was just the craziest thing. And like ever since then, like my vibration, like instantly, just it doesn't take much to get my vibration to rise. And I looked it up and I didn't know what exactly. I just embraced it, I guess. I allowed it to happen and embraced it because there was lights flashing all over the room and you could see the energy bubbling out of the walls, and it was just extremely, extremely intense.
Right. But you knew what you were looking at.
I knew I was
essentially.
I knew I was safe because I knew my guides wouldn't allow anything like that to happen because of the protections I always set no matter what. I'm always setting protections.
Right.
But yeah, I can meditate now and boom, my vibrations right there. And my readings have increased when I give my readings.
That's great.
So, but yeah. And when I researched it, what you read is what the first thing I found.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, that's what it was. And I think, my guides brought me into it. Like it was time.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of spiritual work. I always do. But, a lot of meditations and little things with my energy to connect with actual consciousness in the realm, really understanding spirit.
Doing energy work on yourself.
Yes.
Versus helping other people with it.
Working really hard at trying to understand spiritual realm. But it's, you have an idea of it, but how it really works and what really does roam there. Right. What doesn't really roam there.
Sorry, and she's sticking to it. So, this says, okay, how to handle. What did I call it when we were saying? That's what I keep wanting to call it. A Kundalini Awakening.
You're just thinking about that orgasm thing.
I am. So it says, be gentle with yourself and take care of your nervous system, because that's the sense. When we're dealing with our spiritual selves, I guess from my understanding, what I picture to try to sound normal, I was going to say this is what I picture to sound like a normal person, but it's actually not normal. Since it's something that we can't see, that's how I picture it, like our nervous systems. That's what produces our energy, right?
Yeah, in a sense, it's our spiritual energy. But the neural system, I would say more so is a part of the body. But you can use the neural system, but other energy
that
that's
would be
around
our linking part, would be our nervous system.
I would think so, yeah.
Okay. So a way to help you through this would be taking a warm bath with essential oils for calming. To find something or someone that brings you happiness or feel safe. Like, well, you can't have mama because she's mine, so sorry. Or find something like cuddling with your fur baby. Something that will help you calm yourself down after having this happen. Listening to calming music or listening to PXL.
There you go.
Paranormalxl podcast. You can find us on any. If you're listening, you already know that. Try slow guided breathing or listening to Mama Mary's guided meditations. That'd be perfect. Ground yourself. Always ground yourself. I was waiting to read that one because that's actually the first thing I did. I was so excited. That first day was super nice out. Going to the bus, I'm like, look, I'm leaving early. I come home, I rip off my socks and my shoes, and I'm like, and then I had to quickly look down and make sure I wasn't stepping in dog poo because that would have been horrible.
That would have been gross.
But boy, did that feel so good. Oh my God. I just sat out in the middle of the yard like a crazy person by myself. Hopefully none of the neighbors saw. If they did, oh well. I was out there living my best life. Just
Oh, good to get outside.
finally, after that's all I wanted to do. Like, I know I could do that in the snow, but I'm not going to have the same effect.
That is nice at all.
Absolutely not. Grounding is just good no matter what you're doing or what you're going after, I think. Sitting outside, putting your feet in the dirt. Eat grounding foods. See, I've never heard this before. Like potatoes, root vegetables, and organic meat. What's organic meat?
I guess like
Not from the mass farms, maybe?
probably like when they say free range chicken.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So just roam.
But eat the brown eggs. Then it says
That whole grain.
a whole grain egg. Oh, Lord. Stop all spiritual practices temporarily, it says.
Makes sense.
Is there a possible way to like overload, like over download yourself? But wouldn't that just make you sick probably?
Yeah, it would just.
Drain you? I don't want that. Seek out compassionate help. Not in this house. Oh, this is weird. You ever heard of the hidden traps? You have stuff over there. I'm like just
Well, some of it was the same as yours.
Okay.
The list of symptoms.
okay.
But no, keep going.
So some of the hidden traps, okay? So it can be life-changing is what it is once you hit this.
Yeah.
See, since on my journey, I've had to, and I don't like doing this, there's like the norms, and then there's like the spiritual people. So like we understand what we're talking about, like me and you and our listeners that are still listening and not thinking that we're batshit crazy. And then there's like the people that are just here to be here, and that's okay, because that's what they choose. Because it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
It's a lot of work on yourself, but totally worth it.
It is.
Like I'm just like this much into it, and I feel so much better about myself. What's going on around me?
Well, because you learn how to control the energy around you versus the energy controlling you.
Yes, that's a huge thing.
It is. It's a huge personal power that people don't even realize. It's a superpower to be able to gain that.
Drop the mic, boom, bitches. We are superheroes. Just saying. So some of these traps are spiritual superiority. I'm so bad with words. So seeing yourself as more awake than others and looking down on those who are not as advanced or still asleep.
Would that be the woke generation?
It does get into that in this actually.
I was kidding.
Somewhere, maybe not in this part, but also the spiritual ego. We've talked about that before, and that's where that comes into play. Where like when you're talking to our spiritual family or friends, they understand. They'll be like, oh, well. But if we were to go up to Sean and let's say we're all like, me, he'd have no clue what God, you guys are being bitches. But on this side, the other people would be like, wow, their spiritual ego is off the chain. Like they need to just rein it back in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I said that. Savior complex.
Yeah, I can see that.
Believing that that you're sent to save the world. I am. This can even mean believing that you're Jesus Christ or the next Buddha. No, I am Gigi. Grasping an attachment, desperately trying to hold on to the blissful experience of the Kundalini Awakening. Oh,
I wish I could do it again.
That's sad. That's spiritual nihilism, taking universal truths and misapplying them to a human level. All is an illusion. Nothing ultimately matters, which breeds a sense of disassociation, emptiness. That makes sense. So, yeah, because you need to know the difference. That's what I was just talking about, having the two. See, half the time I'm just a fool with a microphone. That's what's happening. Avoidance. Avoiding or spiritually bypassing everyday responsibilities and focusing only on higher spiritual matters. This goes back to being able to, this is where that hard work comes in, because you can't just not do our reality stuff.
Well, yeah, because that's what happens when you get into that spiritual journey. You have so many things that's happened to you in your past that's caused pain. So when you start that journey, the universe brings things like that up again, so you can deal with it. Oh, that's where the Kundalini comes in. But that journey's rough. That's why a lot of people don't full board.
Right. Now, one of the questions I have, it says, how long does Kundalini Awakening take? It says, it varies for everyone. Some people experience the awakening of Kundalini early on their spiritual path. Indeed, for some, it actually triggers the spiritual surge. For others, Kundalini awakens after many years of spiritual practice. There is no set in stone rule here. It depends on your unique energetic blockages, destiny, soul, and many other factors. Sorry, I'm just sitting here learning.
I think too, like for me, we finally reached a stage where karmic issues that I've been dealing with, especially the last couple years, years. It's finally gone. It's done. So that blockage is gone.
So do you think, okay, so let's take, I'm making up somebody here, a spiritual person, but they seem depressed. Now, some of these things that we have, these symptoms that we have covered, seems like a lot of things that we would just be like, oh, that's depression. And they don't know how to deal with it. Something just triggered in my brain because of what I did earlier. But some of these that I have a lot of lists. There's another list of some of the symptoms, a little less common, but these ones that as I'm looking through them, to me are triggering signs of depression because that's what we're used to calling it. But feeling shattered or like you have no center, dreaming of snakes or seeing snakes everywhere. Feeling raw and extremely vulnerable like a newborn child, manic and exuberant energy or the opposite, chronic fatigue, frequent lucid dreams or vivid dreams, seeing lights or hearing music that isn't there, tapping into your past life experiences or others, entering spontaneous yoga poses. Sorry, I need a moment to process this because I'm visualizing shopping at like Walmart and then all of a sudden you just see like this lady in the meat section. Yeah, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Could you imagine? Like, what is happening? Developing a savior complex or feelings of feeling intense grief for the planet and all of suffering beings. See, that's pretty sad things that they got going on there that they're saying.
Mm-hmm. I think too, that's you have a lot of people who experience that don't understand exactly what they're experiencing. I think that's why having a spiritual path or a spiritual understanding or someone to help you, because it gives you a different perspective. Oh, maybe it's not that. Maybe it could be this. So if I try this, maybe it'll actually help.
Right.
Versus just being stuck in a pattern where somebody's just...
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Not everything has to be on the physical realm because we're...
Spiritual energy.
Yes, thank you. I was like, I just...
need to heal our energy, not our bodies.
Absolutely. Because ultimately, you just all around feel better. Your physical body's going to feel better.
Yeah. Yep.
And even if it's just yoga you get into, your body physically feels better, but you're opening up things and you don't know it, but it's going to be ultimately better for you in the long run.
That's why I do yoga, because it's a very spiritual practice.
I talk about yoga. My hips hurt. I do cake yoga, ice cream yoga, pizza yoga, taco yoga. All the poses are like this.
Hey, just stick a leg up while you're eating.
Well, that could get interesting. I'll let you know how that goes. Love it, love it, love it. Very interesting topic. Definitely do your research on it and find out if you're experiencing any of these and you're just kind of wondering why. Because a lot of people, I don't know, in my own personal experience, I try to stay positive to keep my vibration up, since going on my spiritual journey and giving it a title, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I let go of the negative and stuff. But if you're on that same path, but you're like, man, no, I'm telling myself to be happy, but I'm feeling this way. Why am I still feeling down? What's going on? Look into this.
Yeah.
And do some of the things like the yoga, the meditating, just go outside and take your shoes off, but have it quiet around you and actually listen to the universe.
Exactly.
Like listen to the birds, listen to the wind. That's my favorite thing. You would have said that to me 5 years ago. I'd have been like, oh my God, ain't nobody got time for that business. But that's all I want to come home and do now.
Good.
It just feels so good. And all that time we got to do that as children, and I wish I could go back. Just saying.
Yeah.
So you have anything else to add?
No.
Really? Nothing?
Not really.
Mama.
Well,
she's okay.
Let's talk about, I'll go through them real quick.
Yeah.
Just like the kind of stages, because they really don't always talk about the stages of
Kundalini.
the Kundalini.
With red sauce and breadsticks and garlic.
All right, so yeah, the first stage is where your mind and body, they kind of go through like a decluttering stage. Start the spiritual journey, and you find yourself letting go of things. How we were raised. Well, you're supposed to believe in God. You're only a good person if you believe in God. But you reach a stage where you're like, more to it than that. Maybe it is good to believe in God. But
I'm going to ask these questions.
But there's more to it than just believing God. Bible's a good book. It is. Probably has a lot of true stories in there, but there's so much more to it than that. There's beyond.
Absolutely.
That is a man-made principle and nothing more. Man-made concept, so people will have faith. That's it. I'm probably going to piss some people off, but my voice is getting deeper, so you can tell that I mean it.
She means it. We've discussed that in a few other episodes because, it's a good book.
It is.
But
it was created to keep faith because we weren't spiritually evolved yet. That was the goal. And who cares if people could be Christians? They can believe whatever they want as long as they have faith. But there's a bigger picture out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Bigger picture.
I love it when we have spiritual Christians come into the shop. Those are some of my favorite people to talk to. But they're spiritual and they understand. Some even do readings, you know, but they follow the church because they go as a family or, you know, what have you. But they have a lot of knowledge to talk to. Now, when you get just a churchy person coming in, that's a whole different story. But if you get a churchy spiritual person to come in, oh man, you learn so much. And it's really great. Oh, it's wonderful. But you need both of that. And I think, to make that harmony better. Sorry, go ahead.
I got a ladybug flying at me.
Oh, a ladybug.
Just kind of appeared.
Ladybug.
Okay, so like the second stage is sort of like a little bit of a deeper stage where you're going to find that a lot of energies that you've blocked, even from past lives, start coming up.
Right.
And so that's where you're going to get your digestive issues and other things like that, is trying, you know, helping yourself face that. And then the third stage really is after you process all that information, you start casting out things that no longer serve you. You really connect to like the divine source. Like you're so connected that you complete trust, where you don't worry about anything anymore because you know it's going to work out exactly the way it's supposed to. Let go about my worry at work because it's going to end up exactly how it's supposed to.
Right.
Like literally trusting in the divine and trusting in the universe exactly how it was meant to be. And you don't have anything else to worry about. Energy can't touch you anymore because then they have power over you.
Right.
Learn enough to know that you need to allow them to have power. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't affect your energy.
Right. You're in charge of yourself.
Exactly.
More?
Nope, that was it. That's the third phase.
Oh, 3 phase. Boom, 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 bitches.
But some benefits from a Kundalini, your spiritual awakening, that sort of kind of typically that actually starts to come first. Just because starting your spiritual awakening starts the process of the Kundalini awakening. You cleanse and you purify your chakras because as I think it's called the samskras. As it does that, it the chakras out. It purifies it because its blocks aren't there anymore.
Right.
Karmic debt is cleared. Typically, once you go through your awakening, all your karmic debt from past lives, that's cleared out. You no longer have to worry about that. Peace of mind.
Right.
You're at
actually
peace.
Rest.
Yeah. You're at one with yourself. Memory and intelligence, that improves.
Oh, good. I need that.
Me too. Compassion and kindness towards living beings, your psychic powers, that obviously.
Right.
Your health generally improves. Aging process is slowed down and you become actually a powerful magnet for like good things. You'll find, you'll talk about the synchronicities. You'll see more of the synchronicities. You'll see people just come into your life to help you with some, okay, I've started a project now. I have 5 people who are coming here because they're drawn to my energy and they're going to help me with that project.
Right.
Sort of like this, like,
don't stress about it. That is good. Very interesting. That's the thing with this whole spiritual journey stuff. You're never gonna learn everything before you pass on. Absolutely not.
That's why we come back again.
I'm like, no, I'm just kidding. I've learned so much. I feel like I've learned so much, but I know, like I said, it's like this. Because everything, I don't want to learn everything, but that's the joy of taking the spiritual journey is buckle up. You're on a forever ride.
That's right. You're always going to learn something new. Always. That's the fun part.
Yes, most definitely. And learning different perspectives is really helped me grow as a human being. Learning to accept. I mean, that's what I'm going for. Every time we get to record like a deep episode like this, I always have like some sort of spiritual epiphany where I'm like, oh, thanks.
This is not a spiritual Tiffany. Epiphany.
This lady, Paisley, she's been down here. She's been so is that it?
It is.
So we want to see all of our listeners in Ohio.
Every single one.
Yeah, that's right. And I know things.
She knows who you are.
So thank you for listening, and please send us an email at paranormalxl@writeme.com. Stay kind, stay humble, and remember, don't yuck someone else's yum.
Ever.